25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Friday morning. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving. And next Thursday, you're going to be at that table and you're going to have all that food and you're going to have a salt and pepper shaker. But you will not have a salt and pepper shaker as cool as this salt and pepper shaker I'm looking at right now. Oh, wait a minute. Is that another salt and pepper shaker? We have an artist on the phone. His name is Taylor Payton. I went to his website, and I don't know if he thought that it looks like the coolest salt and pepper shaker I've ever seen, but it looks like a big, gigantic robot.
He's outstanding.
With salt, pepper holes in his head. Did you see what I'm talking about? Did you see this picture?
Let me see.
Doesn't it look like a big salt and pepper shaker? Big, right?
Oh, I see. The robot. Yeah, the nemesis. I didn't look at it as a salt and pepper shaker.
The nemesis. Taylor Payton is on the phone. What a very talented guy already. And if you want to see his work while we're talking on the radio, because obviously radio is an audible medium, TayPayArt, TayPayArt.com, TayPayArt. Taylor Payton, an award-winning illustrator, concept artist, the recipient of the L. Ron Hubbard Illustrators of the Future Award. And we're talking about not only his work, but also the book that you can see his work in, which is The Writers of the Future, Volume 31. Good morning, Taylor. How you doing?
Good morning, Larry. Good morning, Robin. Thank you for the beautiful intro.
You're welcome. Is that a salt shaker? What is that?
Well, in all honesty, I just kind of play with some shapes. In my subconscious, that could have been a salt shaker, but either way, he's got his little salt and pepper buddies he's letting out. So, yeah.
He's got the little holes in his head. That's what I guess that's a head, right? I'm looking at it. I'm not so sure. You know what's amazing to me is that it just has light. It looks like light is coming off of my screen. And is this paint? What am I looking at here? Is that digital? How do you make this?
Well, essentially, I do most of my polished work in Photoshop, and yes, that is digital paint. So I'm pushing pixels around, so it's a lot easier to get effects of light because, I mean, we look at light boxes every day. So
you're using light.
Pretty much.
Wow. So do you do the artwork, like the pieces I'm looking at right now on your website, are they commissioned to illustrate stories? Are they, gosh, this looks like real paint. Wow, this is digital?
Well, that's a very big compliment. Thank you. I strive to emulate traditional mediums, and I do work with them. But let's see. To answer your question, I do a lot of commission work, particularly for the fantasy and sci-fi genre. Not a lot of book covers, surprisingly, but mostly stuff for games, Kickstarters, things of that nature.
I really like the painting that you did with the hand, and then you've got the young lady sleeping, but then you also have a doorway to something. And I just love the composition and the way you managed to marry reality with fantasy, because the hand is really good.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a lot of photo reference. I actually had to have a photo shoot for that one just to make sure I could emulate the reality as well as I wanted to. But that was the one for the anthology as well. That was the one I did for the contest. Yes.
Oh.
Which one was? Which one? That one. Oh,
that one actually is not on the website. Actually,
okay.
I haven't put that one up quite yet.
Oh, I see. Robin has shown it to me. Oh, yeah, that is nice. So where are you? Where are we calling? Where are you calling from, I should say?
Well, I am in good old Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's nice and crispy. You can feel winter coming just around the corner here.
See, I think the grass is always greener, the snow is always wider. I want to be someplace like that right now. I want to be someplace where it's getting cold. You probably want to be here, right, where it's warm?
If we could trade places, that'd be great. I'd take a couple weeks over in Florida.
I would, too. It's a deal. So do
house swapping? We'll swap houses.
You just have to take care of my dog. That's the only problem. Did you go to L.A. for the award, or has that not happened yet?
Oh, I did. That was in April, and that was one of the most phenomenal experiences I've had in my life thus far. I haven't been able to travel very much just due to it just hasn't happened. And getting that plane ticket paid for and getting to go to the hotel and all that was just crazy to me.
It's really amazing how your work stood out, because there are so many artists out there that you really have something special about you to be chosen for this.
Well, I sincerely appreciate that, Robin. I mean, I've always thought about it from not only an artist perspective, but also a marketing one. And I like to think, on a mass level, how can we rise above the noise? And one of my favorite marketers is Seth Godin. And he always says you have to be remarkable. You have to do something that people can talk about. because then they tell other people, and thus you kind of get to a good place with it. So yeah, I try to use a lot of light in my work, just have interesting themes in general, and work on little subtle narratives, but also have strong compositions that register on levels that work with symbology as well. So
let me ask you something. I've often wondered this about like cartoonists or anybody who creates a character. You have to be able to recreate the character, and I often think that might be harder than creating it in the first place. To recreate it, or does that not happen in your work? Do you have to ever recreate it? Like, in other words, if you're a portrait artist, you have to get the likeness of your subject. But if you created the subject in the first place, is it just as hard to capture the likeness of something you've already created?
Well, essentially, to answer your question, to me, everything breaks down to shape language. And shape language is kind of like understanding music theory or, let's say, plot structure. And once you have those fundamentals down and you can speak that language, it's just a matter of getting those shapes right in any given angle. So knowing how to turn the character around in your mind, and maybe even creating reference sheets where you actually go in and, like a concept art lineup, where you would draw the side view, you draw the front view, you draw the back view, and then you can just reference that if you need any other format of angle that you'd like to view it from.
Oh, wow.
Go ahead.
I was just going to, have you worked in animation?
Yes, actually. I went to school for animation. So I ended up being an illustrator and a concept artist because I like static mediums better, and the painters of the 18th and 19th century and the Golden Age really inspired me. But as far as animation goes, that's what I wanted to do when I was 14 up until about 19.
Which one doesn't fit? I'm looking at one of your pages, and I'm thinking, this is like an IQ test. Which one doesn't fit? There's a picture of like a car in a driveway, and I thought, well, that's the one that doesn't fit here. with your initials or your nickname, Tay, on the license plate.
Yeah, that was my first car that I purchased. That was a still life that I did looking out my window. And in that particular section of the website, it's more for advertising and commercial type art.
Oh, I see.
A lot of what I do, is fantasy and sci-fi, and all that stuff is amazing. But when you talk about rising above the noise, you have to diversify a little bit, because sometimes those jobs aren't always the most remunerative, whereas advertising budgets are quite large. So I kind of spread my work just enough to grab some of those gigs as well.
There is one photograph that the a publicist provided us, and it looks like it might be for a video game. It looks like some creature is like wearing a crown, and then he's resting on a beat-up sword or something like that.
Yep. That is a private commission, actually. So from time to time, people who like your art want to become, they want to ensure that you can draw their character, and so they'll throw you some funds, and you can just use their prompt. And this was actually somebody's Dungeons and Dragons character, if I'm not mistaken.
Wow.
Icky the Goblin Queen.
Really? Queen. That's a woman. Okay.
Do you know what?
Goblins are fairly androgynous, and you don't need to really discern the gender of it too easily. But it is, in fact, a lady.
I love that.
We are talking to Taylor Payton, and we're just having a good time looking at his website as well. So if we're not doing our job in giving you an audio show, it's because we're being distracted by all this visual. But you can look at it as well. Go online to taypayart.com, TAYPAYART.com, and you'll be able to see it for yourself. We have to take a little break, but I want to come back and talk to you some more, not only about your art, but also about the Writers of the Future Volume 31 book, because I know we have writers out there who would love this opportunity, as well as artists who would love this opportunity. So when we come back, Taylor Payton and the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future Volume 31. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For this Friday, intervals of clouds and sun. There can be a shower or two, high 78 to 82. Partly to mostly cloudy tonight with a shower mainly along the coast. Overnight lows ranging from the mid-60s inland to 73 along the coast. For tomorrow and Sunday, mostly cloudy with scattered showers. The high tomorrow, 78 to 82. Sunday's highs in the 70s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Joe Lundberg.
If you're anything like I was, the thought of getting older was the last thing on your mind. But here we are. For me, it started slowly. The lack of energy, never being in the mood. And when I was, I could never perform at my best. I tried the pills and other treatments with minimal results, and all but given up on my sex life. Then I found the doctors at New Male Medical Center. Wow, they made a new male out of me. Feel like I'm 25 again. I have renewed vigor, so much more energy, and no longer worry about my performance. New Male treated me like my situation was one of a kind, with a custom treatment plan that really works. I feel great. They can create one for you too. It does not matter if you suffer from low testosterone, erectile dysfunction, or just want to last longer. New Male will help you.
Call New Male Medical Center today at 352-404-4779. 352-404-4779. That's 352-404-4779. It will change your life. 352-404-4779.
We're saving thousands with Robert Palmer.
So rule number one is always shop around. Always shop around. If you're trying to get a mortgage, if you're trying to get the best credit card, if you're looking at student loans, cell phone bills, you name it, rule number one is always shop around. Always shop around.
That's rule number one, just one more vital part of fighting back to stop being a financial zombie. Yes, you can take the mystery out of the complicated world of finances. Take charge when it comes to your money. Listen in on The Source, 96.3 FM and 1370 AM, Saturdays at 12:05.
You spend the season making the holidays brighter for everyone on your list. This year, how about doing the same for yourself? Let PackMail take care of all your holiday packing and shipping, so you can enjoy a little peace and joy too. Just one stop packs up and ships out all your holiday joy to the world, delivering on time and intact. Now how's that for wrapping up your holiday hassles? Stop by PackMail today, 303 Southeast 17th Street in Churchill Square, Ocala.
All right, 12 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. I had a thought during the break, and I want to share it with you and with Taylor Payton. Thank you, Taylor, by the way, for waiting through the break. But you are in an artist, and every once in a while we will have these discussions in our community. I'm not trying to get political in this segment, but I'm going to be just a little bit. Because of this. Every once in a while, there'll be somebody who says, we don't need to be spending taxpayer money on programs in our public schools that teach art. We don't need programs that teach sports. We don't need programs that teach music. We don't need those things. Okay, I'm going to focus on the art just for a second. We can have an argument about sports and music another time. But let me tell you a thought I had. You know, they say everything starts in the mind. Well, look around you, and unless you're looking at a tree, which you could argue was created in the mind of God, let's look at the things that are made by humans. This microphone in front of me started out in somebody's mind. This mall, the building we're broadcasting, we broadcast, Taylor, from a mall. So this mall, right, any building we might be broadcasting from, anything started out in the mind, and what was the next step? It went through a pencil or a paintbrush or something onto a paper, or in today's world, a computer screen. Mm-hmm. But it went from being in somebody's mind to being a visual that everybody else could see, except for the only person who could see it in the mind is the person who was thinking about it. Right?
Right.
So it goes. Yeah. So what if you ride a car, a motorcycle, you live in a house, right? You push a lawnmower, you're wearing clothing. Whatever it is, it all started out with somebody who had artistic skills who could render it and make it visible. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So there you go. So let's support the arts.
Go.
I really do.
I'm not a good debater when nobody's arguing with me.
I mean, I really can't be devil's advocate on this one. I'm afraid. It would be rather hard. I think that everything you're saying is completely on point. We really have to have a way to make something go from mind to matter. And art is one of the gaps, or one of the bridges we can use to get over that gap.
Well said.
And it's the same with any other sort of visual medium. I mean, we can focus on the art, but I believe that everything has its place in school. I mean, these things exist for a reason. Sports bring out the best of somebody's physical aspect, and people who are learning music, they understand their ears better. And, music makes us all feel very, different and special, and it can give us emotions that we couldn't have otherwise. All this stuff is just absolutely irreplaceable as creative modality.
And that takes us to writing, because writing is another art. Mm-hmm. And how much writing, how much storytelling whether there was a visual associated. Well, a movie is a complete package of music and movies, music and pictures and words, right?
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, what's it doing? It's affecting you in some way, and if it affects you, if at the end of the movie you say, you know what, that movie is right, I shouldn't be so hard on my cousin Johnny just because he's fat. You know, he's right. You know what I mean? I mean, if a movie makes you think, but you know what, we shouldn't be so hard on those people because they have a different religion. You know, that's what changes the world. Oh, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't be smoking. That is kind of nasty. You know. So I don't know.
No, I agree on every single point. Like I said, the creative mind is likened to the right brain typically, and that's where we're able to let those ideas gestate and develop and take them further. And then the left brain is the logical one, from my understanding, and that's the one where we make it concrete, because logic is how we work with things that we can measure. And so when you take those two and you can balance out the left and right hemisphere, you can create things like movies or music or cars, or work with physics in a more, let's say, creative way. I mean, Einstein was incredibly right-brained. He actually had to have a team of mathematicians do the other work for him. He would visualize himself as the various types of formulas and equations that he was using.
You seem like you understand that. I don't even understand that stuff. It's beyond me. Yeah, at least
I do a lot of reading.
You grasp it anyway.
When you were chosen as one of the winners, and then you had to put your skills to task and illustrate something for one of the stories, were there any ideas that you discarded before you settled on the painting that you created?
Yeah, usually I go through numerous ideas, and I'm at the point where I can begin to lay in some abstract marks, and I can feel intuitively whether or not it's going to be a composition that I want to work on for a long time. And that just comes from a lot of practice and discernment. But I did throw away quite a few ideas, and I ended up going with 3 of them that I really liked from the story after I reread it a couple times, and I sent those to the art director of the contest, and then they picked one for you. So then I spent about 20 hours polishing that one up.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. I want to make sure that the listeners who might be interested in being part of this will get the information, but we've got enough time for me to interject an observation of my own.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at a painting that you did called Sorceress Nell Veltima. Okay?
Correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my eye goes to different places on this picture. Okay. So if it goes to the cleavage, it feels so nice. It's a comfortable place to be.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah, it's just a nice place to be. And then if my eye shifts over to her pointy black fingernails, it's like, oh gosh, you don't want to be with this lady. This lady looks like trouble, even though I just had a comfortable moment.
Yes.
Yeah, just.
You got exactly what I was going for here. One of the most amazing things about any kind of creative medium and just life in general is contrast. So we have these nice, comfortable round shapes, and then we have the sharp, tiny little ones that are a little more secret. So
it's like you're in trouble. Because those round shapes are going to get you every time.
Yeah.
None of us are immune.
Do you do everything in full color, or do you do strictly black and white, or do you do like a gradation?
Well, I mean, I like to work with flat graphic colors and then sometimes work in gradients as well. There's sort of a nice pull between those things, but oftentimes I will work with a drawing and then I will lay in black and white so I know how things are going to separate, and then I will color it thereafter. Other times I'll go straight to color.
Oh, look at Jester Girl. Holy
okay,
mackerel.
Here I come.
Oh, you got to see Jester Girl. She's... My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun. That's that one. Yeah, that's that one. Okay, wow, that's good stuff.
Flanked by a dolphin.
You know what I don't
eagle.
understand? What I don't understand is when you see, like, there was a picture last week or something. It made the news because it sold for, millions of dollars. It was the second highest auctioned painting ever.
Wow.
I can't remember who it was, but it was a naked lady, and they couldn't even show it on TV without, blurring out the nipples. And
yeah.
And it's like, okay, it's a nice picture, but her eyes aren't lined up. And it's like, why is this worth so much money?
Yes.
When you got stuff like Jester Girl. I mean, Jester Girl should be $6 million.
Exactly.
I don't know what I'd do with $6 million quite yet. I mean, but I don't know. I feel like a lot of it in the fine art world comes down to the collector's mentality. I mean, people with big budgets kind of run that, as well as, I mean, even if their anatomy is off, it's usually a posthumous painting too, which means somebody died. And so it's more valuable because they can't make it again. It's also one of a kind. It's old, you know. It's like a stock that you invested in, and you just kind of let it sit there and get bigger.
Yeah.
When you talk about the fine art world, do you or any of your peers go to any of those fine art shows to display your work?
Well, we go to the museum a lot to look at the masters for inspiration, but as far as fine art goes, most of my peer group is interested in the digital art. I, however, do love the more analog mediums, and I do plan on getting into fine art and actually attending an atelier where I can learn from a master because, you know, I'd kind of like my painting to sell for $6 million someday, you know, maybe.
You'll be dead, though. You'll be dead. It'll be somebody else eventually. All right.
Oh, no, I'll have to do a few publicity stunts before then so I can do it while I'm alive.
That's it. You are right. It's all about the publicity stunts. Yes.
Like I said, I work in marketing, too. I got a double whammy going.
See, you're a smart guy. You just change your sex or something. It's still
there you go.
That's still a way to. Yeah.
I have an extra chromosome. I need about $11 million.
Taylor Payton, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Fun interview, by the way. Let's see.
Thank you.
I want to make
Great
sure.
talking to you guys too.
There's a book. It's called The L. Ron Hubbard's Writers of the Future, Volume 31. We've already talked about it before, but it looks like one of those fabulous books that has the effect on you to keep it reading over again, like to read it again.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially with the visual. I just love the visual artwork.
Well, we've spoken to a lot of the writers as well that are in this book, and I think we're impressed by both sides of this. So somebody out there near the Chinese theater knows what they're doing. That's where this takes place, right? In the Chinese theater? Or near it?
Really close to that. You mean that Hollywood Boulevard area?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually. I mean, I really don't know Cali all that well, but a lot of it is, the hotel is really close to that part, that outdoor mall. But, yeah, they do have a pretty good layout going.
Yeah.
Well, your art is absolutely amazing. I really love it.
Thank you so much.
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, that contest is I mean, it changed my life. I was just, you know, I graduated college and I just kind of submitted on a whim. And then after that point, I just got an email. I got a phone call back from Joni LaBucky from, you know, the Galaxy Press, L. Ron Hubbard, and my mind was blown. I was like, is this a joke? You know, you guys want to take me out there? What? And then it was just this whole beautiful experience, complete with like a week-long workshop and ceremony. And, I mean, it's indescribable. But I highly, highly suggest that any sort of writers or artists, illustrators, submit their work to writersofthefuture.com because that's the place where you can actually give it a shot. You can keep doing that until you win. So,
and I love the fact that they groom you. I love the fact that they give you constructive feedback. Like if you didn't quite cut the grade, they will say, "Here's what you should done. Here's what you might want to consider." And if you're smart and you listen, you will become better. And that goes for a lot of anybody who gives you good feedback. You know, is going to make you a better. And I think what you say, just going to a museum or for a writer, just to read writing. You know, just to expose yourself to people who've already exhibited greatness. I guess is how.
Yeah, I mean, you have to study the masters, study greatness.
I think you are a master already. Taylor, thank you for being on the air with us. Have a great Thanksgiving holiday, and if you celebrate Christmas and all that, thank you for, well, if you don't, then just have a nice winter. Taylor, thank you so much. That was fun.
Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Robin. Have a fantastic holiday, and just, take care.
All right, thank you. We'll be right back.
Bye now.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The State Department says U.S. citizens may be in the hotel under siege by terrorists in the capital of Mali. Gunmen shouting, "God is great" in Arabic, storming a Radisson popular with foreigners, killing at least 3 people, dozens freed, but more being held.
There's a strong radical Islamic presence here in Mali with some link to Al-Qaeda. These radicals were pushed out of northern Mali in 2012 by the French military.
Fox's Paul Tilsley. One more victim is dead in the terrorist attack in Paris 1 week ago. French Prime Minister says there are now 130 people killed. The French army, meanwhile, seeing a surge in interest.
The number of inquiries of people wanting to sign up has gone up by 3 times, from 500 a day to 1,500 applications in the wake of the terrorist attacks.
Fox Business Network's Ashley Webster. Fox News. We report, you decide.
When is your flu shot more than a flu shot? When it helps give a life-saving vaccine to a child in need in a developing country. Walgreens Get a Shot, Give a Shot program has helped provide 7 million vaccines through the UN Foundation thanks to customers like you. Make your flu shot make a world of difference.